The Battle of Hampton Roads was a precedent-setting battle. It took place over a 2-day period, March 8th and March 9th.
On the first day, the CSS Virginia, which was formerly a Union sailing vessel called the Merrimack, that had been converted by the Confederates into an ironclad, sailed out from the south side here in Virginia and began to attack the blockading Union fleet. And it was very effective because it sank very, very powerful, strong, heavily armored wooden ships in terms of the guns, the armor, the weapons that they had. And Virginia had 10 guns, so it was out there fighting an entire fleet and wreaked havoc. And I believe it was the largest loss of life for the U.S. Navy prior to Pearl Harbor. So a very, very significant day.
Well, the evening of March 8th, the Monitor had arrived in Hampton Roads, and where the Virginia was expecting to come out the next morning and have an easy day with the remaining wooden warships in Hampton Roads, she had to go up against the second ironclad, which was the Erickson battery, USS Monitor.
The Union was where the Confederates were building an ironclad, as were the Confederates that the Union was building an ironclad. So this was that one chance where here they are, these two top secret weapons, the same bay, the same battle, and they duked it out for 4 hours, right out there in Hampton Roads, about 5 miles from us. And so for 4 hours, basically point blank range, firing away, pounding each other, cannonball dense, armor, just an incredible battle, smoke, noise.
What it proved was that the age of the wooden warship was over, and it also ushered in a new era of the modern warship, which was the rotating gun turret. The gun turret was a match for the Monitor. Only had 2 guns, insider gun turret, rotating gun turret, and where the Virginia had 10 inside the casemate. But the Virginia, being a traditional broadside warship, the captain had to aim this entire vessel to bring his battery to bear. And what the rotating gun turret did, for the first time in the history of the world, a ship's captain was able to keep his vessel out of harm's way and still be able to aim his cannons.
That battle told us that from that day forward, the wooden walls, the wooden navies of the past were the past. If you wanted to stay competitive, you would have to build ironclads. And so the Monitor was the first of many ironclad vessels, also called Monitors. And the Confederates built many other ironclads similar in design and look to the CSS Virginia.
The most prevalent technology that's left over from the American Civil War and evident in the Monitor is the rotating gun turret. And literally every U.S. warship today and warships around the world in some form or another utilize a rotating gun turret, whether it be a 3-inch gun, a 5-inch gun, the R2-D2 phalanx or whatever. And now it seems that we've also come back around, almost 150 years later with the angle technology that the Confederates were incorporating for casemated ironclads. And so now we incorporate that into the military for stealth technology, stealth fighters, stealth ships. And so instead of repelling cannonballs, they prevent radar waves from bouncing back to the source. In May of 1862, the Virginia was destroyed and Norfolk and Portsmouth were evacuated, and the Monitor was pretty much just on blockade duty. And she spent the rest of the summer up the James River at Richmond trying to guard repairs at Washington Navy Yard, and then was ordered to Beaufort, North Carolina. And that's where she was en route when they were caught in a severe storm on New Year's Eve, 1862. She went down with a loss of 16 men.
For more than 140 years, the Monitor sat on the ocean floor. That was until the first piece, the main propeller, was resurrected in 1998. 4 years later, in 2002, the most iconic part of the ship made it to the surface.
The day we brought the gun turret up, it was something that I'd seen on the bottom for years. When we first uncovered it on the wreck, it was pretty impressive. I mean, even all the Navy divers we'd worked with out there, everybody was like oohing and awing over it. But I don't think any of us really had any idea that we were ever going to see it. Just because Mother Nature was, and everything out of Cape Hatteras fought us tooth and nail. And then on August 5th, 2002, when that thing broke the surface, it was just an incredible sensation. We weren't just saving history, we were making history.
Chamber crew, man your station!
The Navy team provided the manpower, and they provided the labor and the recovery expertise. We all agreed up front that what we were working towards was the end goal, and that was the preservation of one of the United States' most famous warships.
The Mariners Museum is the official repository for storing all of the artifacts recovered from the Monitor. And these artifacts represent approximately 1/5 of the entire ship. So right now in our lab we're dealing with the revolving gun turret, steam engine, guns and carriages, and so it's a real opportunity for everybody here in the Conservation Department at the Mariners Museum to kind of roll up their sleeves and go back to preserve something that was lost in 1862. The idea is to make all of this available for public display in the future. The inside of the lab's kind of a mixed space because we're able to treat really large artifacts and really small artifacts at the same time. And by comparison, we're talking things that are maybe a few inches in size upwards to 120 tons for the gun turret. So we have two really different spaces. One is large and open with big tanks, the other is more of an analytical and small treatment facility. A lot of people think now that the recovery is completed, that the work on the Monitor is done, and that's not really the truth. We're now in charge of taking these artifacts from their corroded state to making them preserved and more stable to be on long-term display. So the conservation process is really only just beginning. We've probably got another 20 years before everything is done. I think one of the most surprising things about the Monitor is actually what the interior of the vessel looked like. Sure, the engine room was hot and the turret was loud and smoky, but the actual cruise quarters were really well appointed. John Erickson actually paid to help outfit the ship better than you would have expected. So we have original plans that show what it was like on the inside, well lit, both with natural light through deck holes, deck lights, as well as lanterns and sconces on the inside. So beautiful place, well appointed, the exact opposite of what you'd expect on a warship.
Without ships like the Monitor, the Navy as we know it today may be completely different. It's thanks to the past that we're able to excel in the future, and it's because of the work done by the staff at the Mariners Museum we're able to enjoy and learn the history of our country's Navy. For All Hands Television, I'm Petty Officer Andrew Geraci.